Hey, I'm Leah, and I'm putting this video together for you guys to use along with some PDFs I'm sending to James. Um, and I just wanted to introduce myself and also the PDFs that you'll be getting and just share a little bit of the context that I want you to think about them through. Um, so I'm really excited to be part of this conversation that James has started with you guys regarding your 10-year plans. I think setting goals inside of a context like a 10-year plan is so incredibly powerful. Goals in themselves, I don't know if people really understand why. I mean, we all know that setting goals is important, but why? Why? And it's actually, there's a bit of science behind what actually happens when we set a goal in our mind. So if you ever have purchased a new car, for example, if you changed cars, like you used to drive a Ford and now you drive a Toyota, when you buy your Toyota, you suddenly feel like everyone's driving Toyotas. You're just so tuned into Toyotas. You see them everywhere. It feels like all of a sudden everyone else has decided to buy a Toyota. I remember having that experience when I was pregnant for the first time. I remember being pregnant and looking around thinking, oh my gosh, everyone's pregnant. How can all these people be pregnant now? And there were no more pregnant women then than there ever were. It was just that I was really tuned into it. So what happens is, in addition, like when you set a goal, you're creating something in the world. You've put it out there that this is what you're interested in, and your unconscious mind works behind the scenes and makes connections. So you're not trying to see more Toyotas, and I wasn't trying to see more pregnant women. It just is what happens. There's so much stuff that goes on behind the scenes that you don't realize. And so when you set a goal, all of a sudden your unconscious mind is going to work for you, doing things to try to make connections that will help you achieve your goal. So they're super powerful. With you guys, I think this is such a great and interesting conversation to have, because you've achieved what most people would call success, financial security. So it's kind of like, what's next for you? You know, you could take this 10-year plan and you could say, you know, my last 10 years were awesome. I'm going to do another version of my last 10 years with maybe some predictable growth in that area. And that would be great. And that's an absolutely viable option and 100% perfect. Another way that you could approach it, though, is given the space that you have, and I think this is such a privilege, given the space you have, given that the boxes are ticked that society says need to be ticked for success and for happiness, those boxes are ticked. What's your next level? Like, how do you get to the next level? You know, what is it for you that if you could achieve this in 10 years' time, you'd be like, wow, that's amazing. I hardly recognize myself. It could be in lots of different areas. You know, it could be in health and fitness. Your 10-year plan might revolve around, you know, your well-being. Your 10-year plan might revolve around relationships. You know, you might not feel that you've ticked those boxes. It might be that you might have a relationship that isn't as strong as you'd like it to be, or you don't have enough time for that, or it needs depth, or it needs mending. It could be with taking on something that you've always thought would be amazing to learn to do, like playing an instrument, or, I mean, I still have a thing about I want to learn to play the guitar. It could be taking on some hobby. It could be saying, oh, look, I don't think I'm going to be successful in this area, but this is something I've always just really wanted to try, and you take it on. You know, setting goals, regardless of where you are, regardless if you've got those early boxes ticked or not, setting goals will often feel scary because, you know, they have to be big enough that they feel worth doing and that you'd be excited if you achieve them, but they can't be so big that they just feel overwhelming and exhausting, and you just grow apathetic. But if they're too small, on the other hand, then you won't feel there's really any point in pursuing it because it's just too easy, and you get bored and you back out that way. So finding that goal that really does, it should make you feel a little bit nervous, a little bit, you know, like a little bit scared. And if it does make you feel that way, that's good, because that means you're choosing something that's stepping outside of your comfort zone. And when you step outside of your comfort zone, the reason why it's not in your comfort zone is because in your comfort zone, that's where you know how stuff goes. You know how to take action and be successful in your comfort zone. And as soon as you start to step out of your comfort zone and start to take action outside of that, you don't know if you're going to be successful. There's a huge chance you'll fail, and chances are you will. Many times before you start to be successful. That's just the way it works. So that kind of goal, that's like a 10-year plan with that kind of thing in mind, is what I love. I've printed these to show you in this context, but I'm emailing them to James so that you will have a copy. The first step that I think really works in creating a 10-year plan is to have a look at all the different areas of life. And I've just printed this. So relationships, health and fitness, career, community, finances, social, hobby, recreation, travel, and personal or other. And then I've just gone in and I've just kind of brainstormed ways to think about these. So I'll give you an example. Relationships, family, significant other, children, parents, friends, colleagues, relationships you may want to create, you may want to develop, you may want to mend, you may want to end, you may want to deepen, prioritize, spend more time with, get to know, create intimacy, open up, take to a new level, nurture, however, whatever language you feel represents how you might feel in this. Personal and other, one way to think about this is if you were to be in a plane crash next week and die, what would you regret having not done? That's probably the best way to think about this, is to think, given that you've got space and time to create anything, what would you create? What would you regret having not done if you were to go? What legacy do you want to leave? Do you have a bucket list? Should you start a bucket list? Should you start crossing things off that bucket list? Should that be the structure of your 10-year plan? Your 10-year plan can look any way you want. So I've mapped those out for you. I'm not going to go through all of them here with you. And then I've got a blank page for you to go in and just brainstorm how you feel these things show up for you. And if these are areas that you feel you'd like to make a priority, I've created a column down the side here that says rank from 1 to 9. So like number 1 would be one of the things that you feel you'd like to make a priority for your 10-year plan. And then one other sheet that I'd love you to fill out, and I think the way James is setting this up is that I'm going to meet with you via Skype, or it could be via phone call if that works better, to go over your worksheets that I'm giving you. This one is one, looks like this. And when you get up here, it's just kind of instructions, and then these are questions. So the instructions basically say, answer these questions from the context of what areas of your life you made a priority. So on this worksheet, if you made relationships, social, and travel your priorities for your 10-year plan, then when you answer these questions, answer them from the context of those areas that you made a priority. I'll give you an example of one of the questions, and they all sound similar, but there are nuances in each one that make them different questions. But one question is, something I've always wanted to do is ... You fill in the blank. What I ask with this sheet is that you fill it out as quickly as you can. The first thing that comes to your mind when you read the question, that's the answer that you want. We don't want you to sort of stop and ponder and think about it, because as soon as we do that with this kind of thing, we start to self-edit, which kind of takes you away from your gut level response, which is really what I'm after in this one. So very simple, you guys. These won't take you long at all, and really powerful. And then I've just got this last one that is all of those same areas of life, and there's just room for you to write down in a really simple way what one goal is in each area of your life. Once we've done that, I can't wait to have our Skype conversations, and depending on how you feel, there's another layer of this I'd like to add onto it, which is like, it's super simple, but it's actually, there's a lot of research on this at the moment, this concept of self-authoring and creating your life. And there's a very simple activity that I'd like to do with each of you that takes all of the stuff here, all the information from that worksheets, and uses it in a super, super simple, powerful way that literally can, like this whole thing about when you set a goal and your unconscious mind is working to find connections for you. This thing that I'm talking about, it's almost like it's magic. You hear people who've done it who literally, they go, I wrote this then and now it exists in my life. Like, it's amazing. So look, I'm really excited to do this with you, and I thank you, James, for the opportunity, and I really look forward to hearing back from all of you. So I think what the best process will be is for you to complete the forms once James emails them to you, and then email them back to me, and James just CC me in on that. Okay, great. See you guys. Bye.